One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. Paul Suellentrop with the Wichita Eagle is covering the news that's been trickling out for a number of weeks. Now it seems to be right upon us all, and that is Wichita State headed to the American Athletic Conference. Paul, so let's start with, give me some feedback on what the fan base, what the Shockers fan base is saying and feeling this morning in Wichita.
Boy, they are, I guess, overwhelmingly thrilled. Right now they're curious. I think there's a sense they want this thing to get done and have official word. Everyone is, saying that it's a done deal, but, there's that moment when it becomes official in whatever form that takes. There's some kind of tweet or a press release or something, and I'm sure there will be a celebration, a news conference, all that kind of stuff. So I think everybody's ready for that. But they are very excited about the potential for this. You would find, a small percentage of holdouts who are, nervous about leaving the Valley for various reasons, maybe competitive reasons, maybe travel reasons. But I think in general, the Wichita State fan base is thrilled and sees this as a life-altering opportunity for their athletic department and their university.
Beyond the opportunity for men's and women's basketball in the AAC, how do you view the rest of the Wichita portfolio and how it may be able to compete, or the challenges that may exist in the Olympic sport opportunities?
Wichita State has a really strong overall athletic program, and I'm sure that's part of this. Men's basketball is obviously by far the main incentive, the main driver. But I would say that if the rest of the athletic department was a subpar or a disaster, that the American probably would not be interested. But I think it's very strong. Moving to the American will be a challenge in all the sports. They're going to step up in budget and resources and population and weather in sports like golf and tennis, where that may be important. I don't think it's anything that's unmanageable. I think it's, and maybe even a sport like volleyball. The Missouri Valley Conference is very strong in volleyball. I think it's comparable or maybe even better than the American. Missouri Valley Conference baseball has really taken a step forward with the addition of Dallas Baptist. And again, the American is better, but I don't think it doesn't appear to be a huge leap. And then maybe in sports like tennis or golf, it will be a bigger leap. So I think across the board, it's going to challenge Wichita State, but I don't think it is a leap that they are totally unprepared or will be overwhelmed by in most of their sports.
Which singular head coach do you think is potentially most worried about this move because it's such a significant jump in competition for their individual sport? Is there anybody that comes to mind on that front?
I don't think really anybody that would be, feeling overwhelmed. Maybe the sports that it will affect the most are baseball and softball because of the travel. That'll be quite a bit different for them. Baseball, the two nearest American members don't play baseball. That's Tulsa and SMU. So you're looking at the closest baseball opponents would be Memphis and Houston, and they're both around 600 miles away, which is, that's pretty much the longest Valley trip. So their travel is going to change quite a bit. Softball is kind of similar, although Tulsa does have softball. And Wichita State baseball is struggling right now, so that would be part of the picture too. They're probably in a position where they may be looking at it and saying, stronger competition is not what we would draw up at this time. But it comes with the benefits of better schedule strength. They like to recruit Texas. It's going to get them down into those areas. So I think there's some pluses for baseball that, especially if they can get the program going in a better direction, that they would be able to compete in a suitable manner.
Paul, I think the most interesting question in this whole situation to me personally is, what are the unintended consequences and what long-term could be the worst possible scenario given the move?
I think the Americans' instability, and you don't have to go back even 8-9 months to last fall when the Big 12 was holding open auditions, and I think almost everybody in the American Athletic Conference wanted to be considered. I think SMU and Houston and UConn, Cincinnati and Memphis, they were all very interested. So I think that's a legitimate question in the minds of people, of some fans. What happens to the American Athletic Conference if some of the premier upper-level schools find new homes? I don't think that's a reason to warn Wichita State off this move. I think you've got to, bet on yourself and trust and hope that things are going to work out, because there's so much instability in college athletics everywhere. I don't think it's a reason not to do it. But I do think that's a legitimate thing to wonder about in 5 years, maybe sooner than that, maybe 10 years. Are you in a conference that that no longer has Cincinnati and Houston, and maybe UConn, and all of a sudden you're in a conference that doesn't suit you as well geographically, and doesn't suit you as well as far as a big basketball emphasis. I think the specter of the American is kind of, as it was robbed of its teams, or as the Big East broke away, I guess. It kind of dipped into Conference USA. So does that happen again? Does Wichita State end up 8 years down the road in a version of Conference USA that it's not really comfortable with and doesn't really suit it? I guess that's a possibility.
And lastly, how does the move impact the potential return of football to campus?
Right now, that's not part of the conversation. They had looked at that when they started this process back in 2015, and I think they wrestled with it and evaluated it and did all those kind of things. And I think they found out that there may be some popular support for it in Wichita. There's no groundswell. There's no big reason to bring it back. And if you can get in the American Athletic Conference without adding football, I think that's a great gift for Wichita State. They don't have to worry about funding football. They don't have to worry about trying to keep up with the Big 12 schools in this area. They can keep doing what they're doing, which is really focus on men's basketball, focus on the other sports. So I guess you would never say never. Perhaps this puts them in a position in some point down the road. Maybe they have a natural way to bring back football, but I think that's no part of the conversation now. And my sense is that's a long way off. Things would really have to change quite a bit for football to really be a serious part of the discussion.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.